Well, I already bought mine. Oh, all right.
Yes, First Warning Weather Center. Here's Chief Meteorologist Patrick Rocky.
Well, Hurricane Ian is nearly 1,000 miles from us. We're already seeing some cloud stream in, and that means that we're going to be dealing with the effects of this storm for quite some time. There is some uncertainty with the track, but again, we do expect that we're going to feel some of the effects. As far as rainfall is concerned, the window is from Friday to Tuesday, so a week from today. We could see 3 to 5 inches of rain between that period. Also with the winds, they're going to be gusty out of the east and the northeast, and those onshore winds bring us the threat for tidal flooding through the weekend and into early next week. So for this evening, what you see is what you get. The clouds are starting to roll in, temperatures in the 60s. When you wake up tomorrow morning, mid to upper 50s, and we'll have a mixture of clouds and sunshine. Those clouds will be thickening up in the afternoon tomorrow. Very pleasant weather with highs in the lower 70s. Still dry generally on Thursday, but the rain rolling in for Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and into early on Tuesday.
Here is the latest on Ian. It is a Category 3 storm, 370 miles south-southwest of Tampa, Florida, 125-mile-per-hour winds. It's moving to the north at 12 miles per hour. Right now, 19 million people at risk for hurricane watches, hurricane warnings, tropical storm warnings and watches as well as it gets ready to make its way to the north. So we look for it now making its way across the Gulf, and we look at sometime Thursday, early Thursday morning, possibly to see landfall as a Category 3 storm. It's going to slow down, and the big problem is it is going to intensify. Why? Well, these Gulf waters are up to 5 degrees above average, and that warm water is fuel for this hurricane. 87 degrees as it comes up this path, 85 right off of Tampa Bay. And so we've got a potential storm surge, especially in Tampa Bay. We're really worried about the high tides at Wednesday, 4:52 p.m., Thursday at 3:39 a.m., Wednesday, 3:12 a.m. So we're going to be watching that very closely. The storm surge is where we get the greatest deaths and damage. And you can see 5 to 10 feet right along the Tampa Bay area, 5 to 8 as you head toward Port Charlotte, and then lower as we move down to the south. And the rainfall is going to be a big problem as well. Roads turning into rivers of moving water, houses damaged or washed away. We're talking about some places maybe picking up to 24 inches of rain or more. And with these destructive winds, we're talking about significant damage to houses and buildings. St. Pete Beach could see a wind gust of up to 127 miles per hour, impassable roads and bridges, and of course, extensive power and communication outages. These hardest hit areas may not have powers for days to even weeks. So we're going to continue to track this. We're going to get an update from the National Hurricane Center in just about 50 minutes, and we will bring you the latest. Guys?
All right, Al Roker for us. Thanks, Al.
Now take a look at this video in Hampton.
A car crashed right into the 7-Eleven on North King Street and Old Fox Hill Road. Our crew was there as the tow truck pulled the car from the building. One worker who was inside at the time said she was shaken, but she is grateful to be okay. Now, the driver was not hurt. He stayed on scene, and his brother-in-law, who lives nearby, came moments after the crash.
Got a call saying he's in the 7-Eleven, and I'm like, let me come and find out what's happening, just to make sure he's okay. That's the important thing, because accidents happen. Not the way you want to start a day, but what can you say?
Well, the owner of the 7-Eleven was on his way to the store when it happened and does have surveillance video. So far, police have not confirmed or said what caused the crash.
Don't ever disrespect me looking like Aziz Ansari and Braveheart, you heard? Yo, don't ever disrespect me looking like Carrot Top in the Hood, you heard? Yo, don't ever disrespect me looking like the Mad Magazine character, you heard? Don't ever disrespect me looking like David Letterman if he never hosted Late Night, you heard? Don't ever disrespect me looking like Popeye and his boyfriend, you heard? Don't ever disrespect me looking like Dennis Rodman if he never played for the NBA, you heard? Oh, don't ever disrespect me looking like Screech in the Fresh Prince. Don't ever disrespect me with a blue pussy, you heard? Don't ever disrespect me looking like a little Mexican pirate, you heard? Don't ever disrespect me looking like the Smothers Brothers, you heard? Yo, don't ever disrespect me looking like before and after, you heard? Don't ever disrespect me looking like Jim Carrey when he dressed like a girl, you heard? Don't ever disrespect me looking like Tony Soprano's son. Yo, don't ever disrespect me looking like Prince Hakeem's wife and Coming to America, you heard? Yo, don't ever disrespect me and your father pussy, you heard?
We have 5,000 National Guardsmen that are activated. From Naples Naples, all the way through the Tampa Bay area and some of the counties north of that. There's evacuation orders that are in place on all these counties from Pasco and Pinellas down to the Fort Myers area. What we have here is really historic storm surge and flooding potential.
At 5 p.m. today, Tampa International Airport will be closed to all passengers and guests.
Now that gas prices are so high, Domino's is giving you 20% off all menu prices when you order online for a limited time. So hurry and take advantage of these low prices. I mean, high prices, which mean low prices. You get the deal. 20% off menu prices on everything for now at Domino's.
It's a powerful visual. As you can see behind me, some businesses already boarding up their windows with plywood, sandbags out as well to prevent flooding. This ice cream shop here trying to ease some of the tension with a little bit of humor. But the reality is the focus right now is on mass evacuations. Hundreds of thousands of people, guys, being asked to leave their homes as Hurricane Ian is strengthening this morning and approaching a population of 3 million people.
This morning, Florida is rushing residents out of a possible disaster zone. Hurricane Ian has grown so large so fast, the storm, which is now nearly 500 miles wide, can be seen from space. The fear it could hit Florida this week as a major hurricane.
Even if it's off the coast, of having really historic storm surge and flooding is very, very real.
Around a half dozen counties on Florida's Gulf Coast issuing mandatory evacuations, many starting today, prompting bumper-to-bumper traffic on many highways.
Please be patient. We expect to have to evacuate over 300,000 people.
Yet time is quickly running out, especially for those seeking sandbags or to stock up on supplies. Empty shelves at stores throughout the region. This video from inside a Tampa Home Depot shows generators, plywood, and gas cans flying off the shelves throughout the day. Florida now activating 5,000 National Guardsmen. That's double the initial call up from just a few days ago. An additional 2,000 Guardsmen are on standby in neighboring states. FEMA is also on the ground and ready to provide help. It's why so many are preparing to leave.
Ready?
For Vika Waters, who lives near an evacuation zone, that's not an option because she's 38 weeks pregnant.
Getting in a car makes me nervous as well because I would have to deliver somewhere that my doctor is not there.
For others who have not been ordered to leave yet, the scars from past hurricanes weighing on them heavily. In Mexico Beach, Florida, they're busy filling sandbags, remembering all too well Category 5 Hurricane Michael's destructive power in 2018. Many there taking the tried and true advice, hope for the best, but prepare for the worst.
And in just 2 counties, Hillsborough and Pinellas, where I'm standing right now, there are roughly 1 million plus people in evacuation zones, guys. Today is going to be crucial hours. Tampa's airport closing at 5 o'clock today, but not before those final flights help to get people out. Savannah, let me send it back to you.
Okay, Sam, thank you. And of course, we will have the latest updates on Ian throughout the morning.
Florida's highways are jammed with traffic as thousands scramble to get out of the path of Hurricane Ian.
Get out right now. Okay, everybody needs to go.
From space, you can really see the massive size of Ian growing in power by the hour.
That is huge.
NOAA released footage from their Hurricane Hunter plane flying into the eye of the storm, the crew buffeted by the high winds.
Tampa's airport will shut down. Evacuation orders are in place for hundreds of thousands of people.
Cruise ships rerouting, ports shutting down. Aviation officials are now warning flights could be disrupted for days.
The Red Cross showed us how to put together a hurricane go bag. Some water and non-perishable foods like canned stuff and food bars like this. Also maybe a pair of work gloves with some duct tape. You can use that for all sorts of things. A light source, flashlight with extra batteries. Many, like Clearwater homeowners Jack Kelly and Kelly Schmidt, are staying put.
We tied the boat down, took the cars to parking garages, helped neighbors all day long moving their cars and making sure they were safe. It's a 8-story building. I'm on the 7th floor. Hopefully the water doesn't get that high, so I think I feel pretty safe.
This Home Depot in Tampa, red gas cans and generators in those large yellow boxes are flying off the shelves.
This is this morning's track.
Native Floridians like Jen Hoskins have been through dozens of hurricanes over the years. Her survival tips are going viral. Your advice was to mimic your neighbors. Why?
Anybody who's been on your street for more than 5 years has been through their fair share of hurricanes or tropical storms. If they panic, you can panic. If they're evacuating, you should probably evacuate. However, if they're just kind of holding on and they look at it like they're not really too worried, that can give you a little bit more peace of mind.
Tampa's biggest amusement park, Busch Gardens, shuts down Wednesday, but Disney World in Orlando will remain open. Meanwhile, the projected path of the storm has changed again. Now it looks like Sarasota will take a direct hit.
It is such a big storm. The wind will be an issue all the way up into the Panhandle, down through the Keys. So if it makes landfall in Sarasota, everybody in the state of Florida is going to feel the impact of this storm.
There's still uncertainty with where that exact landfall will be, but just understand the impacts are going to be far, far broader than just where the eye of the storm happens to make landfall. In some areas, there will be catastrophic flooding and life-threatening storm surge.
Tying it in a knot, right? Not a bow tie.
I know.
And see game as forecasters and residents of Florida brace for Hurricane Ian. Already a Category 1 storm, it's expected to rise to Cat 4 by the time it makes landfall. And regardless of where it hits, folks in Tampa are being told to expect the water level there to rise to historic levels. Here's Stephen Fabian.
A monster is coming. The state of Florida today bracing for impact.
Hurricane Ian on track to become a monster storm.
Setting sights on the Florida coast now.
Residents right now bracing for impact.
This is a really bad situation for Tampa Bay.
Forecasters are modeling where Ian will make landfall. The models look like spaghetti along Florida's Gulf Coast, and the consensus is Tampa will take a major hit. I spoke to WCBS meteorologist John Elliott.
It is day after day after day after day after day of just sitting and spinning and strengthening. It is going to rip up the west coast of Florida like a buzzsaw.
Over the weekend, we saw Hurricane Fiona wreak havoc on the Canadian coast, washing away homes, leaving devastation in its wake. Now it looks like Tampa is next. The predictions are ominous. Worst hurricane to hit Tampa in over 100 years. 15-foot waves, 135 miles per hour winds.
It could be the storm they hoped would never come.
A storm surge could send up to 8 feet of water into Tampa, overwhelming the city's flood defenses.
Tampa has not had a direct hit since 1921. And remember, 2, 3, 4, that talks about wind speed. But flooding, rain, it's all going to combine to cause all kinds of problems and heartache.
People are heeding the dire warnings. There are long lines at gas stations and at supermarkets, empty shelves, sandbags getting filled. If you get that warning to evacuate, you gotta listen, right?
Not only do you need to listen to the warnings, you need to do it in a timely way. Time is of the essence. By Wednesday, it is going to be too late.
Experts say the major potential for damage from Hurricane Ian is the storm surge, not from wind.
This is a really, really big hurricane at this point. The diameter, the width of it's about 500 miles wide.
Florida Governor Ron DeSantis on Monday urged residents to prepare for Hurricane Ian as it heads toward the U.S., expected to bring damaging winds, torrential rain, and a powerful storm surge later in the week.
Make sure you're prepared. There's no need to panic buy. If you normally don't drink a lot of water, you may not need to go out and buy 20 gallons of water right now.
Despite the plea, residents across the state emptied store shelves of water and household items. Others filled sandbags as crews used chainsaws to trim palm trees ahead of the wind. Schools and colleges in the Tampa area and Northwest Florida canceled classes through at least Thursday. The storm is expected to make landfall in Cuba on Monday evening before reaching the U.S. DeSantis warned residents should be prepared for potential evacuations as the storm nears. The governor mobilized 5,000 members of the National Guard, while an additional 2,000 are coming from Tennessee, Georgia, and North Carolina, with more troops on standby in other nearby states. DeSantis also warned residents that there will be major power outages from the storm, as winds were expected to knock down trees and utility poles. Ian follows Hurricane Fiona, a powerful Category 4 storm that carved a path of destruction last week through Puerto Rico, leaving most of the U.S. territory without power and water before slamming into Atlantic Canada, where critical infrastructure might take months to repair.
Overnight, Ian now becoming a hurricane, barreling toward Florida. Store shelves in Tampa are already empty as concerned residents stock up on essentials like plywood to protect their windows and water to drink if Ian strikes a major blow.
I mean, we're trying to be ready. Who knows? I mean, it may be real bad, maybe not bad at all. But if it is, then we just want to make sure we are ready.
Everyone's getting ready for a possible direct hit by this intense storm, projected to reach Category 4 strength, powered by the ultra-warm Gulf waters after going by Cuba later today and tonight. The governor of Florida declaring a state of emergency for all 67 counties and activating thousands of National Guardsmen.
Anticipate power outages. That is something that will likely to happen with a hurricane of this magnitude. Anticipate fuel disruptions.
The lines at gas stations across the state are already long. Emergency management officials say they're preparing for the worst.
More than 2 million meals and more than 1 million gallons of water to be ready to be sent into impacted areas.
I just got here and it's saying that there's no water here.
Supplies running low as people heed the warnings.
Were you surprised to see empty store shelves?
Yes. I'm from Chicago. It's my first year down here experiencing the hurricane, so it's like people are really taking this serious, way more serious than I thought.
Tampa hasn't taken a direct hit from a major hurricane in 100 years. The mayor is preparing for any possibility.
You have dodged bullets in the past. What's the level of uncertainty and I guess concern that maybe this time is going to be different?
Well, we look at it from a worst case scenario every time. So again, we prepare for the worst and hope for the best.
And that's exactly what these Floridians are doing.
Yeah, I don't think we should panic. I don't think, it's part of living here in Florida. We should always definitely be prepared for the worst, of course, but not panic.
Now, the mayor tells me that evacuations are certainly a possibility, but that is a decision that will be made jointly among the counties. The calculus here, they want to give people enough time to get out, but not do it too early in case there's a last-minute shift in the storm's track, as we have seen in recent years with examples like megastorms Irma and Michael. Savannah, back to you.
Yeah, delicate balance there for officials. Sam, thank you very much.
Again, all of Florida right now on alert. Mr. Roker is tracking Ian's projected path, the timing as well. He is with us this morning from Denver, Colorado. Al, good morning.
Hey, good morning, guys. And this is a tricky one because of some weak steering winds and wind shear. But let's get to it. First of all, right now, Ian, a Category 1 storm. It's 90 miles southwest of Grand Cayman, 75-mile-per-hour winds. It's moving northwest at 14 miles per hour. Now, we've got hurricane watches up for parts of the the western coast of Florida. Tropical storm warnings for the Keys. We've got hurricane warnings up for Cuba, the western parts of Cuba. The path of the system brings it across Cuba Tuesday morning. By Wednesday, it slows down to a crawl about 4 miles per hour, coming onshore, we think, Friday morning as a Category 1 storm. But look at the difference between the American model and the European model. We've got a 75-mile gap, difference there, as you can see, by Thursday morning. So depending on that track, that's going to impact where we see. And in fact, there's a wide divergence in more of the models coming across. So as this system makes its way up, we are going to be looking at the big problem, not just rain, but also winds, which will lead to the storm surge. The tropical force winds, the high risk from Fort Myers up to Gainesville, and that's going to be pushing all that water into Tampa Bay. Storm surge of 5 to 8 feet. There's a recent study that says a Category 1 storm coming onshore near Tampa, 1 in 9 homes could flood. And look at the rainfall. We're talking anywhere from 3 to 6 inches of rain, some places upwards of 15 inches of rain in central West Florida, guys. So again, the path's still uncertain, so we're just going to have to continue to track it, but this has to be watched very carefully. And don't worry about the categories. Again, a Category 1 storm could cause problems. Take, for example, Fiona. This storm system came on, this the strongest storm system to ever hit this part of Canada. However, it was about a Category 1 storm when it came in, and it caused massive damage. Power outages, massive flooding, and they've already called in good portions of the Canadian Armed Forces to help clear things out and restore power. So don't worry about categories, worry about the path, and we'll continue to track it for you. Back to you.
Those images really tell that story, Al. Thank you.
Thanks,
we'll check back in.
Speaking of Floridians, everyone, let's go to NBC's Stephanie Stanton, who's in Dunedin, Florida, for us. How are the folks there preparing, Steph?
Yeah, good afternoon to you, Alex. Well, you know, despite all of that uncertainty, people are taking this storm very seriously. They are sandbagging here. I am in Dunedin, Florida, and just to paint you a picture of where that is located, we are about 30 miles northwest of Tampa. It is a coastal resort community on the water on the west coast of the Tampa area. And so folks here, again, taking this very seriously. Take a look at what's happening behind me. You can see that cars have been lined up here pretty much since 8 o'clock this morning. There is a huge pile of sand here. The city of Dunedin Public Works officials, they've been dropping off truckloads of sand since early this morning. They say that they have about 100,000 sandbags available for those who may need them. They say that during previous storms, they've handed out about 30,000 sandbags. But as you said, you know, people here are in full prep mode. This is a town of about 36,000 people. You see a lot of goodwill here right now, people helping people, everyone sort of in this together. At this point, you know, as that cliche goes, people are expecting the worst but hoping for the best.
You know, we're used to it. I've been here 24 years, so I see a few, and we do prepare occasionally. We have hurricane shutter glass on our house, so we're not worried about boarding up. It's just the water now.
There's not much you can do. If it's coming, it's coming. So prepare best you can and move on. Yeah, so that's a good attitude. Yeah, we choose to live in Florida. This is part of it. We're used to it. You know, you kind of have to come through the territory. It's part of living in Florida.
And again, as you see there, people are in good spirits despite a potential threat because Tampa, as you said, is in that cone of uncertainty. People have been prepping in other ways, Alex. They have been out buying bottled water, batteries. In fact, there are several empty store shelves, not only here in the Tampa area, but all across the Sunshine State due to the uncertainty of this storm. Also, they are filling up their tanks with gasoline. And I can tell you that just in this area alone, there have been several gas stations that have run out of fuel. But the bottom line here, Alex, is that people are taking this seriously, and that makes officials very happy because they are warning people to take it seriously, and that if you find yourself in that evacuation zone, they are asking people to leave their homes just as a precautionary measure, even though there is still a lot of uncertainty as to the direction of this storm.
Hurricane Ian becoming a dangerous Category 4 storm. It is set to make landfall within hours. A lot of people hopefully are heeding the warning now because what we saw yesterday along the pier, yeah, people taking selfies here. In Cuba, again, the nationwide blackout, that continues because of the collapse of the electrical system, and millions in Florida, as you heard there, are under evacuation orders. U.S. President Joe Biden also promising support.
The mayors of Tampa, St. Pete, and Clearwater. I told each one of them my conversation separately. Whatever they need, I mean this sincerely, whatever they need, contact me directly, and they know how to do that.
Hurricane Ian, this is a potential catastrophic situation for the western side of Florida. It is extraordinarily rare to see a major hurricane that close to the city of Tampa Bay. This trough in eastern Canada is unfortunately going to nudge it northeast for a likely